These terms cover the use of those Microsoft consumer products, websites, related support, and services listed at the end of these terms here. https://www.microsoft.com/services-agreement #services list, the services. You accept these terms by creating a Microsoft account, through your use of the services, or by continuing to use the services after being notified of a change to these terms. 1. Your privacy. Your privacy is important to us. Please read the Microsoft Privacy Statement, https://go, Microsoft.com/fwlink/ link ID equals 5218839, the Privacy Statement, as it describes the types of data we collect from you and your devices, data, how we use your data, and the legal basis we have to process your data. The Privacy Statement also describes how Microsoft uses your content, which is your communications with others, posting submitted by you to Microsoft via the services, and the files, photos, documents, audio, digital works, live streams and videos that you upload, store, broadcast, create, generate, or share through the services, or inputs that you submit in order to generate content, your content, where processing is based on consent and to the extent permitted by law. By agreeing to these terms, you consent to Microsoft's collection, use and disclosure of your content and data as described in the Privacy Statement. In some cases, we will provide separate notice and request your consent as referenced in the Privacy Statement. 2. Your content. Many of our services allow you to create, store or share your content or receive material from others. We don't claim ownership of your content. Your content remains yours and you are responsible for it. A. When you share your content with other people, you understand that they may be able to, on a worldwide basis, use, save, record, reproduce, broadcast, transmit, share and display your content for the purpose that you made your content available on the services, without compensating you. If you do not want others to have that ability, do not use the services to share your content. You represent and warrant that for the duration of these terms, you have, and will have, all the rights necessary for your content that is uploaded, stored, or shared on or through the services, and that the collection, use, and retention of your content will not violate any law or rights of others. Microsoft does not own, control, verify, pay for, endorse or otherwise assume any liability for your content and cannot be held responsible for your content or the material others upload, store or share using the services. B. To the extent necessary to provide the services to you and others, to protect you and the services, and to improve Microsoft products and services, you grant to Microsoft a worldwide and royalty-free intellectual property license to use your content. For example, to make copies of, retain, transmit, reformat, display, and distribute via communication tools your content on the services. If you publish your content in areas of the service where it is available broadly online without restrictions, your content may appear in demonstrations or materials that promote the service. Some of the services are supported by advertising. Controls for how Microsoft personalizes advertising are available at https://choice. Live.com. We do not use what you say in email, chat, video calls or voicemail, or your documents, photos or other personal files to target advertising to you. Our advertising policies are covered in detail in the Privacy Statement. C. Microsoft provides you with the ability to access your exportable data through the Microsoft Privacy Dashboard, https://account, Microsoft.com/privacy, or the product user interface. When authenticated with your Microsoft account, this exportable data can be used to switch to third-party provider services. Microsoft reserves the right to restrict the export of data that may compromise the security of the services or Microsoft's intellectual property. If you are unable to export your data through these mechanisms, contact Microsoft at the address in the How to Contact Us section, https://privacy, Microsoft.com/privacy statement #main-how-to-contactusmal, or by using our web form, https://go. Microsoft.com/fwlink/ link ID equals 2126612. 3. Code of Conduct. You are accountable for your conduct and content when using the services. A. By agreeing to these terms, you're agreeing that, when using the services, including AI services that make decisions, or take actions, autonomously or with varying levels of human intervention, you will follow these rules. I. Don't do anything illegal, or try to generate or share content that is illegal. 2. Don't engage in any activity that exploits, harms, or threatens to harm children. 3. Don't send spam or engage in phishing, or try to generate or distribute malware. Spam is unwanted or unsolicited bulk email, postings, contact requests, SMS, text messages, instant messages, or similar electronic communications. Phishing is sending emails or other electronic communications to fraudulently or unlawfully induce recipients to reveal personal or sensitive information, such as passwords, dates of birth, social security numbers, passport numbers, credit card information, financial information, or other sensitive information, or to gain access to accounts or records, exfiltration of documents or other sensitive information, payment and/or financial benefit. Malware includes any activity designed to cause technical harm, such as delivering malicious executables, organizing denial of service attacks, or managing command and control servers. 4. Don't publicly display or use the services to generate or share inappropriate content or material, involving, for example, nudity, bestiality, pornography, offensive language, graphic violence, self-harm, or criminal activity, or your content or material that does not comply with local laws or regulations. V. Don't engage in activity that is fraudulent, false, or misleading, e.g., asking for money under false pretenses, impersonating someone else, creating fake accounts, automating inauthentic activity, generating or sharing content that is intentionally deceptive, manipulating the services to increase play count, or affect rankings, ratings, or comments, or libelous or defamatory. 6. Don't circumvent any restrictions on access to, usage, or availability of the services, e.g., attempting to jailbreak an AI system or impermissible scraping. 7. Don't engage in activity that is harmful to you, the services, or others, e.g., transmitting viruses, stalking, trying to generate or sharing content that harasses, bullies or threatens others, posting terrorist or violent extremist content, communicating hate speech, or advocating violence against others. 8. Don't violate or infringe upon the rights of others, e.g., unauthorized sharing of copyrighted music or other copyrighted material, resale or other distribution of Bing maps, or taking photographs or video/audio recordings of others without their consent for processing of an individual's biometric identifiers/information or any other purpose using any of the services. 9. Don't engage in activity that violates the privacy or data protection rights of others. X. Don't help others break these rules. More information about our policies, moderation and enforcement processes and service-specific terms is available at aka.ms/trustandsafety. 4. Using the services support. A. Microsoft account. You'll need a Microsoft account to access many of the services. Your Microsoft account lets you sign into products, websites and services provided by Microsoft and some Microsoft partners. I. Creating an account. You can create a Microsoft account by signing up online. You agree not to use any false, inaccurate or misleading information when signing up for your Microsoft account. In some cases, a third party, like your internet service provider, may have assigned a Microsoft account to you. If you received your Microsoft account from a third party, the third party may have additional rights over your account, like the ability to access or delete your Microsoft account. Please review any additional terms the third party provided you, as Microsoft has no responsibility regarding these additional terms. If you create a Microsoft account on behalf of an entity, such as your business or employer, you represent that you have the legal authority to bind that entity to these terms. You cannot transfer your Microsoft account credentials to another user or entity. To protect your account, keep your account details and password confidential. You are responsible for all activity that occurs under your Microsoft account. 2. Account use. You must use your Microsoft account to keep it active. This means you must sign in at least once in a 2-year period to keep your Microsoft account and associated services, unless specified otherwise, active, unless a longer period is provided in the Microsoft account activity policy at https://go microsoft.com/fwlink/p/ link ID equals 2086738 or in an offer for a paid portion of the services. If you don't sign in during this time, we will assume your Microsoft account is inactive and will close it for you. Please see Section 4A. 4.2 for the consequences of a closed Microsoft account. You must sign into your Outlook.com inbox and your OneDrive, separately, at least once in a 1-year period. Otherwise we will close your Outlook.com inbox and your OneDrive for you. If we reasonably suspect that your Microsoft account is at risk of being used by a third party fraudulently, for example, as a result of an account compromise, Microsoft may suspend your account until you can reclaim ownership. Based on the nature of the compromise, we may be required to disable access to some or all of your content. If you are having trouble accessing your Microsoft account, please visit this website, https://go microsoft.com/fwlink/ link ID equals 2386656. 3. Kids and accounts. By creating a Microsoft account or using the services, you accept and agree to be bound by these terms and represent that you have either reached the age of majority or legal responsibility, where you live, or your parent or legal guardian agrees to be bound by these terms on your behalf. If you do not know whether you have reached the age of majority or legal responsibility, where you live, or do not understand this section, please ask your parent or legal guardian for help. If you are the parent or legal guardian of a minor, you and the minor accept and agree to be bound by these terms and are responsible for all use of the Microsoft account or services, including purchases, whether the minor's account is now open or created later. 4. Closing your account. 1. You can cancel specific services or close your Microsoft account at any time and for any reason. To close your Microsoft account, please visit https://go microsoft.com/fwlink/p/ link ID equals 6188278. When you ask us to close your Microsoft account, you can choose to put it in a suspended state for either 30 or 60 days just in case you change your mind. After that 30 or 60-day period, your Microsoft account will be closed. Please see Section 4A. 4.2 below for an explanation as to what happens when your Microsoft account is closed. Logging back in during the suspension period will reactivate your Microsoft account. 2. If your Microsoft account is closed, whether by you or us, a few things happen. First, your right to use the Microsoft account to access the services stops immediately. Second, we'll delete data or your content associated with your Microsoft account or will otherwise disassociate it from you and your Microsoft account, unless we are required by law to keep it, return it, or transfer it to you or a third party identified by you. You should have a regular backup plan, as Microsoft won't be able to retrieve your content or data once your account is closed. Third, you may lose access to products you've acquired. B. Moderation and enforcement. Many of our services that allow you to interact, create, generate, and share content with others leverage safety systems to protect our services and other users. I. Policies. Our code of conduct identifies what's prohibited when using our services. Our content and conduct policies can be found here, https://www.microsoft.com/digitalsafety/policies. Specific services have additional policies and community standards applicable to their users, which are available here, https://aka/ms/trustandSafety. 2. Reporting a concern. You can report concerning content or conduct that may violate our code of conduct here, https://aka MS/report concerns. 3. Review. Where applicable, we may use automated systems and humans to review content to identify suspected spam, viruses, fraud, phishing, malware, jailbreaking, or other illegal or harmful content or conduct. 4. Enforcement. We reserve the right to deny content if it exceeds limits on storage or file size allowed by the service. We may block, remove or decline to display content if it appears to violate our code of conduct or another service policy or where required by law. If you violate these terms or policies, https://aka ms/trust&safety, we may take action against your account. This could include limiting access to certain features or services, stopping providing services, closing your Microsoft account immediately or blocking delivery of a communication, like email, file sharing or instant message, to or from the services. Closure of your access to a service or your account may result in forfeiture of content licenses, associated content, memberships, and Microsoft account balances associated with the account. When reviewing alleged violations of these terms, Microsoft reserves the right to review content to resolve the issue. However, we cannot monitor the entire services and make no attempt to do so. For more information about the moderation and enforcement processes, https://www.microsoft.com/digital-safety/moderation and enforcement. Service-specific terms, additional policies and guidelines, https://www.microsoft.com/digital-safety/policies/additional guidelines, and appeals, https://www.microsoft.com/digital-safety/moderation and enforcement/appeals. See https://aka ms/trust&safety. Information about our policy relating to claims of intellectual property infringement may be found at notices. C. Work or school accounts. You can sign into certain Microsoft services with a work or school email address. If you do, you agree that the owner of the domain associated with your email address may be notified of the existence of your Microsoft account and its associated subscriptions, control and administer your account, and access and process your data, including the contents of your communications and files, and that Microsoft may notify the owner of the domain if the account or data is compromised. You further agree that your use of the Microsoft services may be subject to the agreements Microsoft has with you or your organization, and these terms may not apply. If you already have a Microsoft account and you use a separate work or school email address to access services covered under these terms, you may be prompted to update the email address associated with your Microsoft account in order to continue accessing such services. D. Additional equipment/data plans. To use many of the services, you'll need an internet connection and/or data/cellular plan. You might also need additional equipment, like a headset, camera or microphone. You are responsible for providing all connections, plans, and equipment needed to use the services and for paying the fees charged by the providers of your connections, plans, and equipment. Those fees are in addition to any fees you pay us for the services, and we will not reimburse you for such fees. Check with your providers to determine if there are any such fees that may apply to you. E. Service notifications. When there's something we need to tell you about a service you use, we'll send you service notifications. If you gave us your email address or phone number in connection with your Microsoft account, then we may send service notifications to you via email or via SMS, text message, including to verify your identity before registering your mobile phone number and verifying your purchases. We may also send you service notifications by other means, for example by in-product messages. Data or messaging rates may apply when receiving notifications via SMS. F. Support. Support for some services is available at https://support. Microsoft.com and is governed by these terms, and certain services may offer separate or additional customer support, subject to additional terms. Support may not be available for preview or beta versions of features or services. Availability of support may vary based on the stage of the product lifecycle, and you must have an eligible and validly licensed services that meets the applicable minimum requirements for supportability described in the Microsoft Lifecycle, https://learn Microsoft.com/lifecycle. The services might not be compatible with software or services provided by third parties, and you are responsible for familiarizing yourself with compatibility requirements. G. Ending your services. If your services are cancelled, whether by you or us, first your right to access the services stops immediately and your license to the software related to the services ends. Second, we'll delete data or your content associated with your service or will otherwise disassociate it from you and your Microsoft account, unless we are required by law to keep it, return it, or transfer it to you or a third party identified by you. As a result, you may no longer be able to access any of the services, or your content that you've stored on those services. You should have a regular backup plan. Third, you may lose access to products you've acquired. If you have cancelled your Microsoft account and have no other account able to access the services, your services may be cancelled immediately. 5. Using third-party apps and services. The services may allow you to access or acquire products, services, websites, links, content, material, games, skills, integrations, bots or applications from independent third parties, companies or people who aren't Microsoft, third-party apps and services. Many of our services also help you find, make requests to, or interact with third-party apps and services and may allow or require you to share your content or data with such third-party apps and services. And you understand that by using our services you are directing them to make third-party apps and services available to you. The third-party apps and services may allow or require you to store your content or data with the publisher, provider or operator of the third-party apps and services. The third-party apps and services may present you with a privacy policy or require you to accept their terms before you can install or use the third-party app or service. See Section 13. B for additional terms for applications acquired through certain stores owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates, including, but not limited to, the Office Store, the Microsoft Store on Xbox and the Microsoft Store on Windows. You should review the third-party terms and privacy policies before acquiring, using, requesting, or linking your Microsoft account to any third-party apps and services. Any third-party terms do not modify these terms. Microsoft does not license any intellectual property to you as part of any third-party apps and services. You agree to assume all risk and liability arising from your use of these third-party apps and services, and that Microsoft is not responsible for any issues arising out of your use of them. Microsoft is not responsible or liable to you or others for information or services provided by any third-party apps and services. 6. Service availability. A. The services, third-party apps and services, or material or products offered through the services may be unavailable from time to time, may be offered on a limited basis, or may vary depending on your region or device. If you change the location associated with your Microsoft account, you may need to reacquire the material or applications that were available to you and paid for in your previous region. You agree not to access or use material or services which are illegal or not licensed for use in the country from which you access or use such material or services, or to conceal or misrepresent your location or identity in order to access or use such material or services. B. We strive to keep the services up and running. However, all online services suffer occasional disruptions and outages, and Microsoft is not liable for any disruption or loss you may suffer as a result. In the event of an outage, you may not be able to retrieve your content or data that you've stored. We recommend that you regularly back up your content and data that you store on the services or store using third-party apps and services. 7. Updates to the services or software, and changes to these terms. A. We may change these terms at any time, and will tell you when we do. Using the services after the changes become effective means you agree to the new terms. If you do not agree to the new terms, you must stop using the services, close your Microsoft account and, if you are a parent or guardian, help your minor child close his or her Microsoft account. B. Sometimes you will need software updates to keep using the services. We may automatically check your version of the software and download software updates or configuration changes. You may also be required to update the software to continue using the services. Such updates are subject to these terms unless other terms accompany the updates, in which case, those other terms apply. Microsoft isn't obligated to make any updates available and doesn't guarantee that we will support the version of the system for which you purchased or licensed the software, apps, content or other products. Such updates may not be compatible with software or services provided by third parties. You may withdraw your consent to future software updates at any time by uninstalling the software. Additionally, there may be times when we need to remove or change features or functionality of the service or stop providing a service or access to third-party apps and services altogether. Except to the extent required by applicable law, we have no obligation to provide a re-download or replacement of any material, digital goods, defined in Section 13(1), or applications previously purchased. We may release the services or their features in a preview or beta version, which may not work correctly or in the same way the final version may work. So that you can use material protected with digital rights management, DRM, like some music, games, movies, books and more. DRM software may automatically contact an online rights server and download and install DRM updates. 8. Software license. Unless accompanied by a separate Microsoft license agreement, for example, if you are using a Microsoft application that is included with and a part of Windows, then the Microsoft software license terms for the Windows operating system govern such software. Any software provided by us to you as part of the services is subject to these terms. Applications acquired through certain stores owned or operated by Microsoft or its affiliates, including, but not limited to the Office Store, Microsoft Store on Windows and Microsoft Store on Xbox, are subject to Section 13(b)(I) below. If you comply with these terms, we grant you the right to install and use one copy of the software per device on a worldwide basis for use by only one person at a time as part of your use of the services. For certain devices, such software may be pre-installed for your personal, non-commercial use of the services. The software or website that is part of the services may include third-party code. Any third-party scripts or code, linked to or referenced from the software or website, are licensed to you by the third parties that own such code, not by Microsoft. Notices, if any, for the third-party code are included for your information only. The software is licensed, not sold, and Microsoft reserves all rights to the software not expressly granted by Microsoft, whether by implication, estoppel, or otherwise. This license does not give you any right to, and you may not, circumvent or bypass any technological protection measures in or relating to the software or services. 2. Disassemble, decompile, decrypt, hack, emulate, exploit, or reverse engineer any software or other aspect of the services that is included in or accessible through the services, except and only to the extent that the applicable copyright law expressly permits doing so. 3. Separate components of the software or services for use on different devices. 4. Publish, copy, rent, lease, sell, export, import, distribute, or lend the software or the services, unless Microsoft expressly authorizes you to do so. Transfer the software, any software licenses, or any rights to access or use the services. 6. Use the services in any unauthorized way that could interfere with anyone else's use of them or gain access to any service, data, account, or network. 7. Enable access to the services or modify any Microsoft authorized device, e.g., Xbox consoles, Microsoft Surface, etc., by unauthorized third-party applications. 9. Payment terms. If you purchase a service, then these payment terms apply to your purchase and you agree to them. Charges. If there is a charge associated with a portion of the services, you agree to pay that charge in the currency specified. The price stated for the services excludes all applicable taxes and currency exchange settlements, unless stated otherwise. All prices for Skype paid products are inclusive of applicable taxes. Unless otherwise stated, you are solely responsible for paying such taxes or other charges. Skype calculates taxes based on the residential address associated with your billing information. You are responsible for ensuring that this address is up to date and accurate. Except for Skype products, taxes are calculated based on your location at the time your Microsoft account was registered unless local law requires a different basis for the calculation. We may suspend or cancel the services if we do not receive an on-time, full payment from you. Suspension or cancellation of the services for non-payment could result in a loss of access to and use of your account and its content. Connecting to the internet via a corporate or other private network that masks your location may cause charges to be different from those displayed for your actual location. Depending on your location, some transactions might require foreign currency conversion or be processed in another country. Your bank might charge you additional fees for those services when you use a debit or credit card. Please contact your bank for details. B. Your billing account. To pay the charges for a service, you will be asked to provide a payment method at the time you sign up for that service. For all services other than Skype, you can access and change your billing information and payment method on the Microsoft Account Management website, https://go. Microsoft.com/fwlink/p/. Link ID equals 618281. And for Skype software and products by signing into your account portal at https://skype.com/go/myaccount. Additionally, you agree to permit Microsoft to use any updated account information regarding your selected payment method provided by your issuing bank or the applicable payment network. You agree to promptly update your account and other information, including your email address and payment method details, so we can complete your transactions and contact you as needed in connection with your transactions. Changes made to your billing account will not affect charges we submit to your billing account before we could reasonably act on your changes to your billing account. C. Billing. By providing Microsoft with a payment method, I represent that you are authorized to use the payment method you provided and that any payment information you provide is true and accurate. 2. Authorize Microsoft to charge you for the services or available content using your payment method. And 3. Authorize Microsoft to charge you for any paid feature of the services you choose to sign up for or use while these terms are in force. We may bill you, A. in advance, B. at the time of purchase, C. shortly after purchase, or D. on a recurring basis for subscription services. Also, we may charge you up to the amount you have approved, and we will notify you in advance of any change in the amount to be charged for recurring subscription services. We may bill you at the same time for more than one of your prior billing periods for amounts that haven't previously been processed. D. Recurring payments. When you purchase the services on a subscription basis, e.g., monthly, every 3 months or annually, you agree that you are authorizing recurring payments, and payments will be made to Microsoft by the method and at the recurring intervals you have agreed to, until the subscription for that service is terminated by you or by Microsoft. You must cancel your services before the next billing date to stop being charged to continue your services. We will provide you with instructions on how you may cancel the services. By authorizing recurring payments, you are authorizing Microsoft to process such payments as either electronic debits or fund transfers, or as electronic drafts from your designated account, for automated clearinghouse or similar payments, or as charges to your designated account, for credit card or similar payments, collectively. Electronic payments. Subscription fees are generally charged in advance of the applicable subscription period. If any payment is returned unpaid or if any credit card or similar transaction is rejected or denied, Microsoft or its service providers reserve the right to collect any applicable return item, rejection or insufficient funds fee and process any such payment as an electronic payment. E. Online statement and errors. For all services other than Skype, Microsoft will provide you with an online billing statement on the Microsoft Account Management website, https://go. Microsoft.com/fwlink/p/. Link ID equals 618282, where you can view and print your statement. For Skype, you can access your online statement by signing into your account at www.skype.com. Com, https://www.skype.com. This is the only billing statement that we provide. If we make an error on your bill, you must tell us within 90 days after the error first appears on your bill. We will then promptly investigate the charge. If you do not tell us within that time, you release us from all liability and claims of loss resulting from the error, and we won't be required to correct the error or provide a refund, unless otherwise required by law. If Microsoft has identified a billing error, we will correct that error within 90 days. This policy does not affect any statutory rights that may apply. F. Refund policy. Unless otherwise provided by law or the terms of a particular service offer, all purchases are final and non-refundable. If you believe that Microsoft has charged you in error, you must contact us within 90 days of such charge. No refunds will be given for any charges more than 90 days old, unless otherwise required by law. We reserve the right to issue refunds or credits at our sole discretion unless otherwise required by law. If we issue a refund or credit, we are under no obligation to issue the same or similar refund in the future. This refund policy does not affect any statutory rights that may apply. For more refund information, please visit our help topic, https://go microsoft.com/fwlink/p/ link ID equals 618283. If you live in Taiwan or Israel, please note that according to the Consumer Protection Act and its relevant regulations, all purchases pertaining to digital content provided via intangible form and/or online services are final and non-refundable when such content or service has been provided online. You are not entitled to claim any cooling-off period or any refund. G. Canceling the services. You may cancel a service at any time, with or without cause. Canceling paid services stops future charges to continue the service. To cancel a service and request a refund, if you are entitled to one, visit the Microsoft Account Management website. For Skype, please complete the withdrawal form using the information provided here, https://go microsoft.com/fwlink/p/. Link ID equals 618286. You should refer back to the offer describing the services as I. You may not receive a refund at the time of cancellation. 2. You may be obligated to pay cancellation charges. 3. You may be obligated to pay all charges made to your billing account for the services before the date of cancellation. And 4. You may lose access to and use of your account when you cancel the services. Or, if you live in Taiwan or Israel, 5. You may receive a refund in the amount equal to the unused fees you paid for a service calculated at the time of cancellation. If you live in Israel, you may cancel by any of the means listed on https://support. Microsoft.com/help/40278815. Please contact a Microsoft representative by telephone to obtain a refund if you are eligible for it. We will process your data as described above in Section 4. If you cancel, your access to the services ends at the end of your current service period, or, if we bill your account on a periodic basis, at the end of the period in which you canceled. If you initiate a chargeback or reversal with your bank for your payment of services, we will deem you to have canceled as of the date that the original payment was made, and you authorize us to immediately cancel your service and/or revoke any content that was provided to you in exchange for such payment. H. Trial period offers. If you are taking part in any trial period offer, you may be required to cancel the trial services within the timeframe communicated to you when you accepted the offer in order to avoid being charged to continue the services at the end of the trial period. For certain trial period offers, we may require auto-renewal to be turned on. I. Promotional offers. From time to time, Microsoft may offer services for free for a trial period. Microsoft reserves the right to charge you for such services, at the normal rate, if Microsoft determines, in its reasonable discretion, that you are abusing the terms of the offer. J. Price changes. We may change the price of the services at any time, and if you have a recurring purchase, we will notify you by email, or other reasonable manner, at least 15 days before the price change. If you do not agree to the price change, you must cancel and stop using the services before the price change takes effect. If there is a fixed term and price for your service offer, that price will remain in force for the fixed term. K. Payments to you. If we owe you a payment, then you agree to timely and accurately provide us with any information we need to get that payment to you. Subject to applicable law. You are responsible for any taxes and charges you may incur as a result of this payment to you. You must also comply with any other conditions we place on your right to any payment. If you receive a payment in error, we may reverse or require return of the payment. You agree to cooperate with us in our efforts to do this. We may also reduce the payment to you without notice to adjust for any previous overpayment. L. Gift cards. Redemption and use of gift cards, other than Skype gift cards, are governed by the Microsoft gift card terms and conditions, https://support. Microsoft.com/help/10562/Microsoft account gift card terms and conditions. Information on Skype gift cards is available on Skype's help page, https://go. Microsoft.com/fwlink/ link ID equals 615383. M. Bank account payment method. You may register an eligible bank account with your Microsoft account to use it as a payment method. Eligible bank accounts include accounts held at a financial institution capable of receiving direct debit entries, e.g., a United States-based financial institution that supports automated clearinghouse (ACH) entries, a European financial institution that supports single euro payments area (SEPA), or IDEAL in the Netherlands. Terms you agreed to when adding your bank account as a payment method in your Microsoft account, e.g., the mandate, in the case of SEPA, also apply. You represent and warrant that your registered bank account is held in your name or you are authorized to register and use this bank account as a payment method. By registering or selecting your bank account as your payment method, you authorize Microsoft, or its agent, to initiate one or more debits for the total amount of your purchase or subscription charge, in accordance with the terms of your subscription service, from your bank account, and, if necessary, initiate one or more credits to your bank account to correct errors, issue a refund or similar purpose, and you authorize the financial institution that holds your bank account to deduct such debits or accept such credits. You understand that this authorization will remain in full force and effect until you remove your bank account information from your Microsoft account. Contact customer support as outlined above in Section 4E as soon as possible if you believe you have been charged in error. Laws applicable in your country may also limit your liability for any fraudulent, erroneous or unauthorized transactions from your bank account. By registering or selecting a bank account as your payment method, you acknowledge that you have read, understand and agree to these terms. 10. Contracting entity. Choice of law. Location for resolving disputes. For your use of free and paid consumer Skype-branded services, if you live outside of Europe, the Middle East and Africa, you are contracting with, and all references to Microsoft in these terms mean, Skype Communications S.A., R. L. 23-29 Rives de Clausen, L. 2165 Luxembourg unless specified otherwise below. For free or paid consumer Skype-branded services, if you live outside of Europe, the Middle East and Africa, Luxembourg law governs the interpretation of these terms and claims for their breach. Regardless of conflict of law principles, the laws of the province or country where you live govern all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims. If you live outside of Europe, the Middle East and Africa, you and we irrevocably agree to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the Luxembourg courts for all disputes arising out of or relating to the consumer Skype-branded services. For all other services, the entity with which you are contracting, the governing law, and the location to resolve disputes appear below. A. Canada. If you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, Canada, and you are using paid consumer Skype-branded services, or if you are using free portions of Microsoft Teams, you are contracting with Skype Communications U.S. Corporation, 2215 B Renaissance Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89119, United States. For all other free and paid consumer services, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA, the laws of the province where you live, or, if a business, your principal place of business, govern the interpretation of these terms, claims for their breach, and all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims, regardless of conflict of law principles. You and we irrevocably consent to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the courts in Ontario for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services. B. North or South America outside the United States and Canada, if you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, North or South America outside the United States and Canada, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. Washington state law governs the interpretation of these terms and claims for their breach, regardless of choice of law principles. The laws of the country to which we direct your services govern all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims. C. Middle East, Africa or Europe, if you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, the Middle East, Africa or in Europe excluding the European Union, EU, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, and you are using free portions of the services, such as Bing and MSN, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. Except that if you are using free portions of Skype, you are contracting with Microsoft Ireland Operations Limited, 1 Microsoft Place, South County Business Park, Leopardstown, Dublin 18, Ireland. If you paid to use a portion of the services, you are contracting with Microsoft Ireland Operations Limited, 1 Microsoft Place, South County Business Park, Leopardstown, Dublin 18, Ireland. For free and paid services, the laws of Ireland govern the interpretation of these terms and claims for their breach, regardless of conflict of laws principles. The laws of the country to which we direct your services govern all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims. You and we irrevocably agree to the exclusive jurisdiction and venue of the courts of Ireland for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services. D. Asia or the South Pacific, unless your country is specifically called out below, if you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, Asia, except China, Japan, the Republic of Korea, or Taiwan, or the South Pacific, and you are using free portions of the services, such as Bing and MSN, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. If you paid to use a portion of the services, or are using the free Outlook.com service in Singapore or Hong Kong, you are contracting with Microsoft Regional Sales Pte Ltd, a corporation organized under the laws of Singapore, with its registered address at 182 Cecil Street, #13-01 Fraser's Tower, Singapore 069547, provided that if you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, Australia, you are contracting with Microsoft Proprietary Ltd, 1, Denison Street, North Sydney, NSW 2060, Australia, and if you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, New Zealand, you are contracting with Microsoft New Zealand Limited, Level 5, 22, Viaduct Harbour Avenue, P.O. Box 8070, Simon Street, Auckland, 1150 New Zealand. For free and paid services, Washington state law governs the interpretation of these terms and claims for their breach, regardless of conflict of laws principles. The laws of the country to which we direct your services govern all other claims, including consumer protection, unfair competition, and tort claims. Any dispute arising out of or in connection with these terms or the services besides Skype, including any question regarding their existence, validity, or termination, will be referred to and finally resolved by arbitration in Singapore in accordance with the arbitration rules of the Singapore International Arbitration Centre, SIAC, which rules are deemed to be incorporated by reference into this clause. The tribunal will consist of 1 arbitrator to be appointed by the President of SIAC. The language of arbitration will be English. The decision of the arbitrator will be final, binding, and incontestable, and it may be used as a basis for judgment in any country or region. E. Japan. If you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, Japan, and you are using free portions of the services, such as Bing and MSN, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. If you paid to use a portion of the services, you are contracting with Microsoft Japan Company, Ltd., MSKK, Shinagawa Grand Central Tower, 2-16-3 Konan Minato-ku, Tokyo 1080075, for free and paid services. The laws of Japan govern these terms and any matters arising out of or relating to them or the services. You and we irrevocably agree to the exclusive original jurisdiction and venue of the Tokyo District Court for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services. F. Republic of Korea. I. If you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, the Republic of Korea, and you are using free portions of the services, such as Bing and MSN, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. If you paid to use a portion of the services, you are contracting with Microsoft Korea, Inc., 12th floor, Tower A, the Katewin Tower, Jongro 1 Gil 50, Jongro-gu, Seoul, Republic of Korea, 03142, for free and paid services. The laws of the Republic of Korea govern these terms and any matters arising out of or relating to them or the services. You and we irrevocably agree to non-exclusive original jurisdiction and venue of the Seoul Central District Court for all disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services. 2. If you live in the Republic of Korea, by law, you may have certain rights that can't be limited by a contract like these terms. These terms are in no way intended to restrict those rights or to restrict Microsoft's liabilities imposed by law, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained herein. These terms shall be effective to the extent permitted by law. Any change of these terms, and any change in the amount to be charged for recurring subscription services, if applicable, shall be made in accordance with the requirements of law. G. Taiwan. If you live in, or, if a business, your principal place of business is in, Taiwan, and you are using free portions of the services, such as Bing and MSN, you are contracting with Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, 98052, USA. If you paid to use a portion of the services, you are contracting with Microsoft Taiwan Corp. 18F. No. 68. SEC. 5. Zhongxiao-E. RD. Sini District. Taipei 11065. Taiwan. For free and paid services. The laws of Taiwan govern these terms and any matters arising out of or relating to them or the services. For more details regarding Microsoft Taiwan Corp., please view the website provided by the Ministry of Economic Affairs ROC. https://gcis.nat.gov. tw/main/. You and we irrevocably designate the Taipei District Court as the court of first instance, having jurisdiction over any disputes arising out of or relating to these terms or the services, to the maximum extent permitted by Taiwan laws. Your local consumer laws may require some local laws to govern or give you the right to resolve disputes in another forum despite these terms. If so, the choice of law and forum provisions in Section 10 apply as much as your local consumer laws allow. 11. Warranties. A. Microsoft, and our affiliates, resellers, distributors, and vendors, make no warranties, express or implied, guarantees or conditions with respect to your use of the services. You understand that use of the services is at your own risk and that we provide the services on an as-is basis, with all faults, and as available. Microsoft doesn't guarantee the accuracy or timeliness of the services. You may have certain rights under your local law. Nothing in these terms is intended to affect those rights. If they are applicable, you acknowledge that computer and telecommunications systems are not fault-free and occasional periods of downtime occur. We do not guarantee the services will be uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free or that content loss won't occur, nor do we guarantee any connection to or transmission from computer networks. B. To the extent permitted under your local law, we exclude any implied warranties, including for merchantability, satisfactory quality, fitness for a particular purpose, workmanlike effort, and non-infringement. C. For consumers living in Australia, our goods and services come with guarantees that cannot be excluded under the Australian consumer law. For major failures with the service, you are entitled to cancel your service contract with us, and to a refund for the unused portion, or to compensation for its reduced value. You are also entitled to choose a refund or replacement for major failures with goods. If a failure with the goods or a service does not amount to a major failure, you are entitled to have the failure rectified in a reasonable time. If this is not done, you are entitled to a refund for the goods and to cancel the contract for the service and obtain a refund of any unused portion. You are also entitled to be compensated for any other reasonably foreseeable loss or damage from a failure in the goods or service. D. For consumers living in New Zealand, you may have statutory rights under the New Zealand Consumer Guarantees Act, and nothing in these terms is intended to affect those rights. 12. Limitation of liability. A. If you have any basis for recovering damages, including breach of these terms, to the extent permitted by the applicable law, you agree that your exclusive remedy is to recover from Microsoft or any affiliates, resellers, distributors, third-party apps and services providers, and vendors, direct damages up to an amount equal to your services fee for the month during which the loss or breach occurred, or up to $10,000 if the services are free. B. To the extent permitted by the applicable law, you can't recover any consequential losses or damages. 2. Loss of actual or anticipated profits, whether direct or indirect. 3. Loss of actual or anticipated income, whether direct or indirect. 4. Loss of contract or business or other losses or damages arising from your use of the services in a non-personal capacity. 5. Special, indirect, incidental or punitive losses or damages. And 6. To the extent permitted by law, direct losses or damages in excess of the cap specified in Section 12 above. These limitations and exclusions apply if this remedy doesn't fully compensate you for any losses or fails of its essential purpose, or if we knew or should have known about the possibility of the damages. To the maximum extent permitted by law, these limitations and exclusions apply to anything or any claims related to these terms, the services, or the software related to the services. C. Microsoft is not responsible or liable for any failure to perform or delay in performing its obligations under these terms, to the extent that the failure or delay is caused by circumstances beyond Microsoft's reasonable control, such as labor disputes, acts of God, war or terrorist activity, malicious damage, accidents or compliance with any applicable law or government order. Microsoft will endeavor to minimize the effects of any of these events and to perform the obligations that aren't affected.